Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we are going to be discussing and explaining a little bit more about Jacen Syndulla in the Ahsoka show, why he's actually important here as well going forward for the rest of the show. We're going to go ahead and hop right on into it. In this video we are going to be taking a read from the direct article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. As a read, Star Wars fans were right about Ahsoka's youngest star and Hera Syndulla's son, Jacen Syndulla. Jacen Syndulla had first appeared in Star Wars Rebels epilogue, of where he was revealed to be the son of Hera, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead in live action, and the late Kanan Jarrus, the Order 66 survivor and Jedi Knight who had trained Ezra Bridger. Ahsoka has brought Jacen Syndulla into live action through a young actor, Evan Whitten, while also teasing an important aspect of his character moving forward, and must I say that Evan Whitten has been killing it. He's been a phenomenal actor for this role. Amidst the search for Ahsoka and Sabine in Ahsoka Episode 5, Jacen Syndulla tells Mary Elizabeth Winstead's Hera Syndulla that he hears clashing lightsabers over the ocean, tapping into the Force and being able to hear what's going on with Ahsoka and Anakin in the World Between Worlds. Not only is this where Ahsoka had fell in Episode 4, the previous episode, into the World Between Worlds, but Jacen Syndulla hears this battle while Ahsoka is fighting her former master, Anakin Skywalker, in the World Between Worlds. And so, in a way, it's similar to how Leia Organa can hear Luke Skywalker through the Force on Cloud City in The Empire Strikes Back, is very reminiscent of that, and a direct parallel even at that to with how we saw that. So, in addition to Jacen Syndulla being proven right when Ahsoka is finally located, Hu Yang actually confirms Jacen's abilities, explaining that his father before him was a Jedi. And so, Star Wars fans first suspected Jacen's Force sensitivity in the earlier episodes, such as when he had first expressed his interest in wanting to be a Jedi. Asking his mom if he would be able to ever train as a Jedi is literally one of the first things that we hear his character say in the Ahsoka show. Also, when we later hear him saying that he has a bad feeling about this, a running gag within the Star Wars franchise. But how can he have a bad feeling about something necessarily on that aspect of things? He has to be Force sensitive and have those abilities to feel something bad is coming or going to happen, for that being Thrawn, or what Baylan and his apprentice Shin-Hati have done. And while the "I have a bad feeling about this" running gag is a frequently used line in the Star Wars universe, Jacen's delivery is different and suggests that he senses the future, a very prominent Jedi trait as we know. And so, however, in Star Wars Rebels, the animated show, not Ahsoka may have been the first time young Syndulla's abilities were teased. And so, when delivering the Rebels epilogue line, Sabine and Ahsoka's Padawan describes Jacen, saying born to fly just like his mother, and well, we all know what his father was like, just giving a small little inside tease as if for what is to come for his character, thinking back all the way to Star Wars Rebels for when that had concluded. This here being said, how can we see Jacen Syndulla as the potentially next big Star Wars Jedi in the franchise going forward, and also for the fact as of to why Ahsoka, or really nobody else, wants to take him on as a Padawan as of right now. So first things first, there's no denying that Ahsoka is making every effort to communicate that Jacen is Force sensitive, showcasing his Force abilities and sensitivity throughout these last couple of episodes. The problem is that Ahsoka takes place before the events of the sequel trilogy, in which Ahsoka's characters have little to no presence. Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Evan Whitten's mother-son duo were nowhere to be found within the sequel trilogy ever, of course. This is also prior to Kylo Ren's or Ben Solo's destruction of Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple and his students, which is why the trilogy's second film is titled The Last Jedi, presumably, but as we know, during this time period there, well, necessarily isn't just one Last Jedi. So why won't Ahsoka take on Jacen Syndulla, specifically her as a master? As I kind of mentioned this in another video here on the channel already, explaining a little bit more with those Clone Wars flashbacks that we just had in Ahsoka Episode 5, but we see very strongly, I believe, in those Clone Wars flashbacks. It's very firmly placed and planted as of to how Ahsoka felt about any of that, being essentially a child warrior, despite all of the memes, or maybe how funny people may think it is. That's what it was, really, and we see that communicated in the Ahsoka Episode 5 Clone Wars flashbacks. It's something that she clearly doesn't agree with or want to partake anything with, but in order to train as a Jedi and to be a part of the Jedi Order, it's what she must do. It's what the Jedi are doing, are partaking in the Clone Wars. She doesn't believe it to be right any bit. Placing a child such as herself in a battlefield, in a war zone, it's dangerous, and it's not necessarily somewhere where, well, you would put a child. So with that being said, that might be for as of why we see much rather Ahsoka take on a much older Padawan, being Sabine, who's presumably closer to her late 20s during this time in the timeline. She's older, she's more experienced, and she's able to handle that type of stuff. She presumably had done the same for Grogu or Baby Yoda, thinking and believing that he's simply too young, despite his overall character actually being 50 years old. His species, of course, age different, and he is much closer to being literally a baby. So when you take something like that and you place it into dangerous situations, war, scenarios, as such as we saw for Ahsoka during the Clone Wars, she doesn't believe it to be right, and she stands against it quite clearly, and this is for as of why I believe that Ahsoka doesn't want to take on Jacen Syndulla quite yet as any type of, Padawan quite yet. You may be asking though, however, why did Ahsoka allow Ezra Bridger to partake in anything with the events of Star Wars Rebels, and I believe that to simply be out of her control. That was between Kanan and Ezra, not between her and Ezra. And so, while Jacen's Jedi prospects are up for debate at this point, back in 2018, Star Wars Rebels and now Ahsoka showrunner Dave Filoni had claimed that the character's name was also a way to honor the expanding universe or Legends character of Jacen Solo, saying that, in quote, "It seemed in a very small way, naming him Jacen was a way to honor the expanded universe or the Legends character of Jacen Solo, who just isn't there anymore as the timelines have changed. I thought that's a little bit of a wink to people that I know that was an important character, and maybe in some way that lives on through his character. I don't know yet, though." Ending that quote right there, essentially saying as if for what went on with the character of Jacen Solo in the expanded universe or within the Legends of the Star Wars universe and franchise, they essentially have been taking this a lot with a lot of the stories and narratives from the expanded universe and implementing it into canon here, especially throughout the Mandoverse here as well. So I definitely do believe this to be a continuing thing going forward, and something that we are going to see more and more with, and especially with the character of Jacen Syndulla or Jacen Solo within canon. I'll have another video discussing and talking about that in more detail and in more depth here on the channel a little bit later. All the more reason to grab that subscribe button if you haven't already. Will say though, however, in Star Wars Legends, Jacen Solo was the son of Han and Leia Organa Solo, and eventually fell to the dark side. A very similar fate to what we saw in the sequel trilogy with Kylo Ren or Ben Solo. So whether any of Jacen Solo's history manifests through Jacen Syndulla within canon is quite unknown at this point, but given that the Star Wars' latest Disney Plus show has established thus far, Jacen's future with the Force and having Force sensitivity likely lies with this groundbreaking new galaxy and Ezra Bridger. After all, if anyone were to train Jacen, it should be Ezra, since he was trained by Jacen's father. It is a very memorable thing going forward, and would be a very neat parallel. This all being said though, guys, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. What do you think about the character of Jacen Syndulla so far in the Ahsoka show, and what do you want to see with him in the future of the franchise, guys? I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been an official Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.